Well, Julian Assange. He's been hit with Espionage Act violations as DoJ unveils 17 new charges. When he said that he didn't want to get extradited back to America because they were going to try and go for him for the Espionage Act, and everybody laughed and said he was being paranoid, can we say now that he wasn't being paranoid? Like, this is his worst fear.
I think so.
Yeah, this is what he was worried about.
Act is very serious.
Yeah,
very serious.
I don't know if they're going to have any luck doing this. I really don't think this Espionage Act is going to work. I don't even think the deep state is going to be able to pull this one off. But let's go through and let's have a look at it, and we'll see what they're up to. So, worst fears for Julian Assange's legal team have been realised. Just as WikiLeaks editor-in-chief anticipated, the DOJ has revealed a grand jury in Virginia has returned 18 new counts substituting indictment against Julian Assange. You know, that grand jury that we weren't supposed to know about, that accidentally got leaked and that we knew about and that we've been reporting on. But don't worry, they don't have a grand jury against him or anything, you know. No. Anyway, that includes the Espionage Act stemming from his role in publishing the classified documents leaked by Chelsea Manning, as well as his original charge of conspiracy to break into a government computer. The DOJ said with the indictment that Assange will face a maximum of 10 years for each of the 17 Espionage Act violations, plus the 5-year penalty for his earlier hacking charge.
Is that 170 years?
175 years.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really pissed off at him, aren't they? In addition to significantly raising the punishment threshold for a maximum of 5.5 years under the previous indictment for the prospect of death, sentencing and violating the Espionage Act, the new charges will raise a series of First Amendment issues, which is where I want to go with this, and Assange will become the first journalist charged under the Espionage Act. Good luck with that. Literally good luck with that. Like, yeah. Although it's not guaranteed, Espionage Act violations have in the past carried the prospect of a death sentence. Although Assange's specific violations will likely spare him the possibility of such a fate, the full context of the Espionage Act of 1917 has been used to convicted suspected spies. Most famously, Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. The Rosenbergs were famously put to death by the electric chair in 1953. So the quote is, the Justice Department's decision to pursue Espionage Act charges signals a dramatic escalation under President Trump to crack down on leaks of classified information and aims squarely at First Amendment protections for all journalists. Most recently, law enforcement officers charged a former intelligence analyst with giving classified documents to The Intercept, a nation security news website. Legal scholars believe that the prosecution reporting over their work would violate the First Amendment, but the prospect has not yet been tested in court because the government had never charged a journalist under the Espionage Act. Although he is not a conventional journalist, much of what Julian Assange does at WikiLeaks is difficult to distinguish in a legal, meaningful way from what traditional news organizations like the New York Times do. Seek and publish information that officials want to be secret, including classified national security matters, take steps and protect the confidentiality of sources. Don't feel bad about none watching YouTube screwing with the algorithm again. Noon. I don't understand who's screwing with the algorithm there, Mr. News. Okay, so before we get it, alright, so let's just break that down. Right. Julian Assange is a journalist.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. He is, yeah. So at the end of the day, he is protected under the First Amendment rights for protection of the press. Right?
In America, yes, but not
Yeah.
the rest of the world.
Yes. But it's the Americans that are going after him.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, I'm surprised Australia doesn't, but then I guess he's never really done anything horrible to us.
No, true. But at the end of the day, any other country that goes after a journalist like this would be devastating for any re-election campaign. Right? So, okay, so these 17 charges, they include espionage, right? So what are the full list of charges that he's going to get done? So, they are claiming gathering of transmitting or losing defense information. Alright, so that's the charge of espionage. Right. I don't think they're going to be able to pull this off. I really don't think they're going to be able to get him on espionage. I think the court is going to come back. Even the deep state is not going to be able to pull this off. Like, if they pull this off, that is going to be some frigging kangaroo court they've got. What do you reckon?
So when I say that Assange is mostly a journalist, that is true. But are there proven times when he's actually gotten involved in the gathering of the news?
The only thing they can link to is the computer hacking, him trying to crack the password.
Do journalists normally do that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I imagine the journalists have tried to do that sort of stuff. Like, he didn't try and actually hack into anything. He tried to decipher from a password hash. So,
yeah, he was trying to do that. Supposedly, allegedly. I don't know, yeah. It's interesting.
Like, I really don't think they're going to be able to get him for this. Like, I think this is way overreaching.
Yeah, I would say it is an overreach. I don't think he's done espionage.
No.
Like, if someone else... Because someone else brought him that information. So the espionage would be the person who brought him the information.
Chelsea Manning, stuff like that. And not to throw Chelsea Manning under the bus, but Chelsea Manning would have been the person who has done the espionage, if anybody.
Yeah, so, yeah. Chelsea Manning would be the one that you'd go after the Espionage Act.
Yeah.
And then, I guess, what do you charge Assange with?
Well, you could charge him with hacking, but that's about it. That's all you can really charge him with.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, if they go after Assange, technically then they can go after CNN. CNN ran ran the WikiLeaks on national TV.
Oh, yeah, but remember there's one rule for me and one rule for thee.
Well, yeah, and then this is, I don't know. I think that if Assange was charged with Espionage Act, right, there's going to be a freaking riot. Let alone the fact that then if they don't go after CNN or whatever, it's going to show the deep state for who they really are. Like, everybody knows the deep state's behind this, right? But at the end of the day, they're still trying to play it coy in the fact that, it's like, well, he was... It's like, no, you're going after him because he blasted your secrets all over the internet. He made you look like a bunch of chumps. Like...
Pretty much.
Yeah. So... And this is the thing, like I said... CNN ran these stories. What is the difference between WikiLeaks running the stories and CNN doing it? There's absolutely no difference.
Yeah. Well, I suppose one difference was that, according to CNN, it was illegal for you and I to go there.
But that was a load of crap.
They were able to go through... Yeah, I know that. They were able to go through it and bring you what was important.
Yeah, we're going to give you
No,
the filtered version of this. Yeah.
I don't think Assange can. Um, I don't think he can be charged with anything in reality. But I think they want to. They want to put him up on a pike as a
Yeah.
warning to everyone else
They
not
want
to
to
do
make an
this again.
example. Make an example out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know
Sorry.
how many times in history has this happened to people who want to expose the truth? I mean,
Yeah, but we didn't have alternative media back then.
well, I mean, yeah, true. You had underground media, things like that.
Yeah.
That's about it, really.
So, per the New York Times, the Obama administration considered bringing the Espionage Act against Assange, but backed because it didn't want to raise the First Amendment issue. While WikiLeaks while WikiLeaks had warned of this possibility, they suspected the US would wait until Assange was on American soil before bringing the Espionage Act related charges, since they would carry a much more severe penalty. WikiLeaks said the new charges are madness and that this would be the end of the national security journalism. So remember the UK and Ecuador promising that no serious harm would befall Julian Assange. Assange wouldn't be put to death or face the possibility of rotting in prison for the rest of his life. Whether these new charges will help or hurt Assange's chances of successfully beating extradition remains to be seen. So they're going after him for one count to conspiracy to receive national defense information, obtaining national defense information for 2 counts, 2 counts of obtaining national defense information, 2 counts of disclosure of national defense information, 2 counts of disclosure of national defense information, 2 counts of disclosure of national defense information, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. So, yeah. There's the documents there for anybody that wants to see. I think this is insane. I think this is absolutely insane. There's no way they're going to be able to pull this off. This is going to go so bad for them that they have no idea how bad this is going to go. If every journalist, every company out there that has covered these WikiLeaks is now going to be liable for this. Like CNN, MSNBC, ABC, 7 News here in Australia, 9 News in Australia. Everybody that talked or showed the WikiLeaks, technically, according to this, can be charged. And this, not only is this going to hopefully make the rest of the media wake up to themselves to sort of stick up for Julian Assange a little bit, but hopefully they'll go through and sort of put pressure on the and I don't think Trump is going to allow Assange to rot in prison either. I reckon he'll pardon him. Have you heard that?
I don't have that same faith as you. I don't believe that Trump is going to do the right thing here now.
It'll kill his election campaign if he doesn't.
Do you think that his base actually care that much? Or,
yeah, I do.
Wouldn't it be a very, very tiny minority of people in general that at all care about Assange?
So if Trump goes after Julian, right? Think of the YouTubers that are going to make videos about it, right? Ben Shapiro is going to talk about it. Jimmy Dore is going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it.
They support him, Jimmy Dore and Ben Shapiro.
No, but there is crossover. Ben Shapiro does, but Jimmy Dore has a bit of crossover from some of us on the conservative side because he's anti-establishment and whatnot, right? You're also going to have like Mark Dice, Paul Joseph Watson, Infowars. They're going to all, hopefully, they'll bat for Julian Assange. then you're going to get the YouTubers like, for example, Phil DeFranco. He would hopefully back for Julian Assange. Like, it's probably going to be easier to list the YouTubers who don't go through and make a video going on about how much this is a load of bullshit. Like,
well, I hope so.
Hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to see a precedent for a journalist getting espionage for journalist activities.
No.
Because it would be it would have a chilling effect. I mean, you might not see journalists from the mainstream media get done for what they covered, in retrospect, but it'll have a chilling effect moving forward.
Mm.
Yeah, and maybe that's what they want, though. Maybe that's one of the things they want. Like, even though people call it the Clinton News Network, at the end of the day, a lot of these people are still under their own control. It's the government's wet dream to have the media completely under their thumb, like the Chinese government has with their media.
Well, this is the thing, right? When we call CNN the Clinton News Network, that was just basically because of that election campaign. The fact is that CNN is deep state. If there was, like, for example, over in America, in the politics that's running at the moment, the U.S. election, I can tell you now. I can tell you who the Democratic nominee that's going to win, and I believe I told you this 3 months ago. It's going to be Joe Biden. It's going to be Joe Biden versus Trump.
That'd be funny.
Sleepy Joe.
Creepy Joe.
Creepy Joe.
Sleepy Joe or Creepy Joe? Yeah.
Creepy Joe, yeah.
By the way, that's a Trump thing, to put these labels on his opposition, these little catchphrases.
Yeah, because it works.
Yeah. It does, doesn't it?
Mm.
But
because,
the thing
Joe
too
Biden is deep state.
Exactly.
Mm.
One of the things that you also have to be worried about is in the future when you have social credit system like they do in China now. These journalists are part of the citizenry, and it will have an effect on their social credit score to publish anything that is against the state. It's not just worrying about getting taken out by the government, but just they may not even have to do that. They'll just start to kill your social credit score. Now in America, wouldn't we possibly see this too? Anyway, like whether or not they go after Julian Assange, is it really that important? At the end of the day, in the future, social credit scores are going to drop when you do bad things against the state.
Yeah, but the mainstream media at the moment, as it is, for example, don't go against the deep state anyway. They're infiltrated by the deep state.
Mm-hmm.
So when this new credit system comes through, it's still going to be business as usual, because at the end of the day, it's well, they're not going to change anything that they're already doing.
But you'll run afoul. You won't just run afoul of the deep state. You would also run afoul of the mob, the online mob. The hard left social media companies.
Yeah, well, the credit score system, like China's got, that's run by the government.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the private sector running it in the West.
I don't think so.
Well,
I think it's going to be government.
Well, actually, consider this. It's, for example, it's the people who are running Facebook and Twitter are the ones who are now launching their own payment processors. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be the private sector that's taking over your ability to function in the West. I mean, a lot of people don't like Laura Luma that much, but let's just have a bit of I don't know. I feel very, very sorry for her because she's only 25 years old.
Yeah.
And she's already unable to operate in any conceivable way. She can't even get an Uber. I mean, the banks, Chase Bank, are banning people. So, yeah, and if they start launching social credit scores, which they kind of have one in a way, they got these lists of people in the back end of Facebook, for example.
Yeah.
And if you get banned off of Facebook, you can't use Messenger. So you can receive the messages, but you can't reply. That honestly feels like they're punishing you by letting your friends contact you, but you can't reply.
Yeah.
And then what happens when you can't use your payment system to go to the shops and get toilet paper? Well, you have to stink because you can't, wipe your own butt.
Yeah.
So what's next, And I think this comes around to this idea that Julian Assange is only the tip of the iceberg. Honestly, think about all these other things I'm mentioning, because the future is not bright, my friend.
No, I know. It's why we're fighting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I just had a huge fight with my mum and dad because, Dad turned around and I said, I've got to go, I've got to do the show. Dad said, well, go and play on your computer. And I lost it because I said to him, we're not playing on the computer, Dad. We're trying to fucking save the world. It's why we're doing this, But it might be, two idiots sitting in their houses, prospectively, you and me, of course, and talking on a live stream right now. But this is going out to the internet. There's, we have stories that have had 150,000 views. We've had some big stories break, and we were some of this channel has been some of the tip of the spear when it comes to breaking these stories. Josie Smollett, we called it before anybody else.
Yeah, the only thing is the reach. That's a black pill for me. That normally we are low double digits or single digits most of the time, and then some of the stories only get a few hundred views. Like you said, you've had a few go over 100K, I think. But that's rare, and yeah, it's a black pill to consider that the reach is so small. I actually thought it was also kind of sad to see that Sargon, his videos, that he has nearly 1 million subscribers, but his percentage in views is quite low comparably.
Yeah, because they're squashing everybody.
Throttling his channel.
Yeah,
they're throttling his channel so much. So
I have a plan. I have a plan to solve this problem, and it's going to send a shockwave through the internet. Have you seen Nonpartisan Media website lately?
No, I haven't.
Have you got the live stream up on your screen?
No, I do not.
No, okay. So what I have at the moment is I have a website that goes through, and it's a prototype. Like I've always said to you, when I do things, I'm normally 5 or 10 steps ahead, right? What I did was I went through and made a website that automatically puts my videos up on a website that they can't control, which will link back to my YouTube channel. So, for example, you type in Google Julian Assange, you now have a better chance of this video coming up because it is linked from an external source, right? What if
you're using SEO?
Yes, I am. I don't know how well off the SEO is at the moment. I've still got to work all that sort of stuff out. But yes, the add-on is there for that as well. Imagine someone now going through and adding all the alternative media to a single website.
Yeah. So that way, the domain companies and hosting companies will shut you down instead, like they did with.
They can't shut down the alt-right.net or .com or whatever it is. That's still going.
Yeah. But do you remember what happened to the Daily Stormer?
Mm-hmm. Is the Daily Stormer still up?
So yes,
right.
It was a rough ride there for a while, I believe.
But it's still up at the moment, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, right. I'll admit that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So come at me. Try
it. Come at me, bro.
Come at me.
You mad, bro?
Come on me. Come at me, bro. Sort of thing.
Yeah. I think the only thing they could do at the end of the day, really, is they'll just have to Seth Rich you. I think it is.
Yeah,
Seth
it's
Green.
funny because
Yeah.
my dad's saying that we're not going to make a difference, and my mum's sitting around saying they're going to shoot you, son. I'm like, why are they going to shoot me, mum? I'm not making a difference. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing, though. I'm quite cynical. I actually think
No,
that,
are you?
are we really making a difference? Are we?
Yeah. Well, and this is what I was going to
I
say,
hope
right?
so.
Even if we like, and obviously with you check the views on the channel lately, you notice the views have jumped. It's because they've been linked to the
I did see
externals.
that.
Yeah, they've been linked to that website. So the thing is that right? So at the end of the day, even if we only get 100 views on this Julian Assange story, right? But that doesn't mean that someone like Stex Hexenhammer or Sargon of Akkad or whatever will see this video and use our talking points.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually watching one of the videos I watched was a Yong Ye one,
Mm-hmm.
and I swear to God, the thing that he said, I was like, did he just lift that off of Gamers Caf?
Mm.
I was actually really like, whoa, that was like deja vu. I was like,
There's been a bit of that lately. There's been a few things that we talked about, especially with the Australian politics. We were the
yeah,
first one to say a bit about it, and a lot of other people are paraphrasing the exact same thing that we said.
yeah, yeah. I saw something with that. Which channel was it? It's that new channel I watch a fair bit of. It's Mike Martens. I thought he lifted a quote that you said from a few days back. I was like, are these YouTubers watching us and going, these guys are smart?
Well,
And then
it's
just
possible.
stealing everything we're saying,
And if
but
that's the
without
case,
giving any credit.
well, yeah, if that's the case, give me some credit, man. But like I say, and I don't have a problem with people listening to us and copying anything that we might say. If you think we got it right, then by all means, do it. Obviously, I'd like the credit, but
Yeah.
if not, stiff shit, I suppose. But at the end of the day,
Do you know what though?
Hmm.
It plays perfectly into my personality though. I don't want success directly, not really. So if I'm sitting here giving off information that someone with success is using and making a difference, then I see it as like a success shield, and then I'm more than happy to keep going if that's the case.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to get famous per se either, because I hate the spotlight, which is why I have a panda as my avatar and not my real face. But but here's the thing too. Also, using what we're saying, and we're getting way off on the track, and we should probably wrap this story up. But what I was going to say was also you got to remember too that Styx Hexenhammer, for example, has just come out saying that he wants to work and that everybody should work with smaller YouTubers to prop everybody up. I don't know if you.
Nice.
I don't know if you've seen that video, which, oh my god, that is something that this red panda has been saying for 18 months now.
Yeah. Do you know why this is a good idea though? I think people might start to realize something important here. That the social media platforms are systematically getting rid of all the big players.
Yeah.
Now, so if these guys, these big players, I tend to feel that, it's a selfish reason. And look, there's nothing wrong with making money. I'm going to quote Rakita Law here. If you get into YouTubing and you want to make money, great, all power to you. That's people do things for the money, right?
Yeah,
exactly. There's nothing inherently wrong with making some cash for your work.
No.
But the thing is that not promoting a lot of the smaller channels is, that's a way of keeping your audience coming to you, and that's making you money. But what's the point if you get taken out and that really, really hurts the culture war on our side? So it might be time to sacrifice some of that, sweet green, the money, and start propping up the smaller players out of self-preservation.
Well, I don't think
because if you get taken out and all the smaller players don't want to come out and look, say anything because well, you weren't there for us. But if they are there for us now, then when they get taken out, we'll go to bat for them.
Well, this is the thing. At the end of the day, I don't think it is actually sacrificing any money, because at the end of the day, even if someone watches Sticks, Hex and Hammer, for example, right, and then they watch my videos, for example, then at the end of the day, they're still going to watch both videos. So it's not really like, and this is the weird thing, right? Half of the topics that we cover today, people aren't going to talk about for another 12 hours yet. Because this is why this is why we do the show at this time of the day at 9 o'clock in the morning, our time. Well, 10 o'clock now, but you know what I mean. Because at the end of the day, like, we're talking about the end of the news cycle. So Sticks, for example, he'll upload his videos like in 18 hours or whatever it may be, but it's going to be the exact same stuff that we talk about now. I guarantee you, Sticks will put out a video tomorrow. He'll talk about Julian Assange, and a couple of the other hot topics that we're talking about right now. And it's not because he's watching our content or anything like that, don't take me out of word, but it's because of the fact that the stuff that we're talking is just breaking, and we're covering it as it's literally breaking towards the end of the day, and he won't be doing his videos until in the morning. So we get that sort of advantage.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, but guys, look, let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. We sort of went off a bit off track there. Let us know what your thoughts are regarding Julian. Do you think that they're going to be able to go through and shut him down? Do you think they're going to be able to charge him with Espionage Act? Or do you think at the end of the day it's a bit of a pipe dream? And it's, quote, WikiLeaks madness? To be honest, I think it's madness. I don't think they're going to be able to pull it off. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Apart from that, we'll jump into the next story.